Alright you guys, so last week's video was wild. I've been wanting to share that Ryan and I were trying to get pregnant since January, which is when we officially started trying. And even then, like, to be honest, like, it's been just like slowly dipping our toe in this experience, if you will, because it's still all new and we're still kind of like, we don't want to put the pressure on ourselves. I think that was the biggest thing, is like, we wanted to finally rip the band-aid of all the ways we are protecting and avoiding getting pregnant and be like, okay, now we're just gonna like go with it. But we didn't want to be like, pressure, crazy. And since January, when like that started, I've been wanting to share, but it's kind of one of those things, like I really had to decide if I wanted to put it out there, because telling people you're trying to get pregnant is not normal. Maybe your mom or something, but it's risky, it's scary, because then you have to be vulnerable to, what if I don't get pregnant? Are people gonna start like keep asking me like, what is this gonna look like? But I really wanted to share that experience with you guys, not having any idea what it's gonna look like, because we're all in this together and we're women, and I just feel like we need to have more open, candid conversation. So that's where that video really stemmed from. I don't know if you guys remember, but last June I went to my OBG for like my yearly checkup and stuff, and I had done some Instagram stories about this, but that was the first time I really had someone be like, look, you don't have forever. I was like, what? And him just being really honest and candid about the fact that, like, at the time I was 34, and he's like, there's just science, like things just happen. Your egg count goes down, risk factors go up, like all this stuff starts to happen. So if you want to start a family, you really should start thinking about your options in the next 6 months to a year. And I was like, so at that moment, I had done a bunch of Instagram stories, and then I kind of started documenting just loosely a couple other moments of like weird emotional experiences that happened. So that's what this video is. You guys are gonna see some of that. So it started like in June, and some check-ins like from last year, because I wanna like be able to share that with you as well. I was filming that not really knowing what I was gonna do with it, but like here we are. So that's what you guys are gonna see in this video. I hope that this is helpful, because it's just really like raw, candid feelings. I'm trying to treat all of this like a diary, just like my video diary that I can share with you guys, so that we can go on this journey together and just share all these experiences. I just finished with my yearly checkup, and I love my doctor. He's great, fantastic, very honest, straight shooting kind of guy. I think it's just so hard being a woman and like having huge ambitions and things you want to do, and not knowing 100% if you're like ready to have a baby, which I know you're never like ready to have a baby, and having those conversations and realizing like you have to pull the trigger at some point, because you don't have forever, obviously. Every year and every month and stuff, like, it gets more challenging. Having hypothyroidism is more challenging, like all those things. Not trying to have a baby right now. And I know this is like a very raw conversation to have, and I'm like not always talking about this anywhere, and I'm gonna try to be open with you guys about everything, but it's just like Ryan and I have like super honest conversations with each other all the time, and are like so on the same page, which is beautiful and like such a blessing. But it's hard because we're both on the same page of like, and we've been working on this project for like 2 years. It's like a massive undertaking, and our current baby right now, and like the thought of like going down that path this moment is like, oh my gosh, but I know there's always something, right? So it's just like how are you supposed to know? I know you never know, and there's never a good time, like I get that, but like, girls, like, help. Well, we also know it'd be like such a beautiful addition to like our little team Dunlop. And I don't know, I was never that person who was like, I'm gonna be a mom, and like, I don't know, there's so many mixed emotions and feelings, and like, why? And then hormones get in the mix of it, and you're like, what do I do? I don't know, this is such a weird long tangent of a story. All that's to say, I just felt like really like sharing that, because it sucks to be a girl sometimes, because you're just like, I don't know, like, what are you supposed to do? And you only have so much time until you don't have time. You know what I mean? anyway, Thursday thoughts.
I've been really open and honest with you guys about my journey with going off birth control and where Ryan and I are at with ideas of starting a family or family planning. And obviously it's a question I get asked every freaking day on social and everywhere else. So I feel like this is the right time to start kind of sharing and documenting more of this journey. I don't know when I'm gonna put this out, but I took about a week and a half ago an at-home fertility test. It's not sponsored, but the brand was Modern Fertility. And it's one where you do a blood sample and they test levels like your AMH levels and thyroid levels and just FSH, like all sorts of different things. The most important hormones to really determine where your body's at. Like, so they obviously factor in your age, all of that, and then kind of determine like your egg count and like the health of your ovaries and everything else. So I did that, and it was interesting. I think that I didn't realize how emotional I'd be. I broke down crying, and I didn't think to have my phone or turn it on during that time. But one of the most important levels obviously is your egg count, and mine are extremely low. So based on this test, like, it is much lower than the average woman my age. And after 35, your egg count rapidly starts to decrease. So obviously all things to consider. So while I'd like to think I have all the time in the world, there's just biology and science. And obviously there's miracles, and whatever God has planned for us will happen. But I think it was just an interesting like punch to the gut to be like, oh, okay, I don't just have even a normal amount of eggs for someone my age. I have like way, way less. And part of that's probably my thyroid stuff. Part of that's also probably because I started my period when I was like 11, 12, maybe 12. I feel like I was 11. Yeah. So Ryan and I have been talking a lot and trying to determine kind of when we want to more actively be open to trying to get pregnant. It feels so weird saying that, but it is just kind of one of those things. And I think now I do have to be a little bit more aware of like when I'm ovulating. Like, I still am using my Natural Cycles app, so I know when those times are, but now I think it's a little more of like, okay, when we are ready to cross that bridge, I'm gonna have to be like, here's the window, like, it's go time, versus just seeing what happens. But for both of us, I think we're really coming to a place where we're ready to see if that's what God has for us. And I think that test just really opened my eyes to be like, yeah, if it's something that you want and it's like a desire of your heart, then now's time to like start trying. So weird. I feel like this is so weird, you guys, but I always talk about like how do you know when you're ready to like start trying to have a baby, or like if you want to be a mom and all of that stuff. And I know some people just like know, like that is what they're destined to do. And like obviously I know there's never a good time and all that stuff, but I feel like it's just getting weird. Like I don't know, like I don't feel ready to, but I also, gosh, my curtain just like, like there's a ghost. I don't know that I feel like, yeah, like let's start right now, but also like I just got my period this morning, hence this, and I felt like sad, just weird, because we're not even trying right now. Like it's not like I'm sad because we're trying to get pregnant and I'm like waiting to be pregnant, I'm not pregnant, but I just kind of had this like gut feeling. I don't know, like it was just this like little bit of like I don't know why I would have thought I'd be pregnant, because like literally we're not trying at all. But it was weird. So I'm like, is that how you know like you're supposed to start trying? Like, I don't know if you guys have experienced that. But I mean, we've been talking about it a lot and talking about like soon, like very soon. It just feels like a weird step to be like, okay, let's do it. Like, let's try and calculate. I know my ovulation, I know all that stuff because I track it, but like, it feels really scary to actually try. But like that feeling this morning was just bizarre. I don't know. And I also just feel like how, like we talk about it a lot, and like I said, we talked about like starting to try soon, but it's like, how do you know how to bridge that gap and like have that conversation with your partner, like, are you ready? Because I want it to be like so perfectly equal and not like him to feel pressured at all. because I still like feel like I don't even know. Oh my gosh. But also like every month it feels like I'm like losing a chance, because I am, I guess. And as you get older, like it just gets harder, and I have my thyroid stuff and that's harder. And I don't know, I feel like doctors have told me like I'd have a really hard time potentially. Everything looks healthy, like all my insides look healthy, but my egg reserve is like normal but low, like low normal. And then with my thyroid stuff, my doctors have told me like it could be hard. You just don't know. There's no way to like tell that, but it's like it could be really hard. Or I could get pregnant like in a second. I don't know that I'm ready for that either. So it's like, what do you do? Help. I keep praying like so much every day, like just praying every day that it's so clear. And so then I'm like, okay, well, is the feeling I had this morning, is that like God making it super clear for me that it's time? But then I'm still questioning everything and like doubting everything and stressing myself out. Or is like, that's not it. And I'm like trying to make that be a sign. I don't know. Well, I guess I have like a month to think about it again. Another month.
Anyways, I'm sorry if this is kind of disjointed, but I didn't know what I was doing with this stuff. I just filmed when I felt compelled to like share something. So, it's a little choppy, but that was like, you know, summer into fall. And then Ryan and I really started having a lot of conversations around like, okay, when do we actually want to start trying? And through those conversations, we decided like next year, meaning this year, 2022. And then like really then it was about like, okay, what does that mean for us? Like, are we gonna be crazy counting, temperaturing, ovulating, and then being like go time? Or are we just gonna like start to see what happens? And we really just want to take the approach of like, let's see what happens. But the next video I'm going to share next week is going to be kind of documenting from that time that we finally were like, okay, let's see, let's start trying and see what happens. And I just really wanted to treat this like a diary and just share my heart, share my emotions, share my feelings for myself to document this journey, but also to be able to share with you guys. So hopefully you like this. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss. Next Thursday, I'll be sharing that part that just like literally started happening 2 months ago. Like so crazy.